Hopefully I don't fall through the roof of... I don't even know what this is. Hi. It's been a long time. It's been like maybe over a month and a half since I've last talked to you, since Washington. But I made my way back down to home, which is in Southern California. I'm back in the suburbs, the American suburbs. And I'm taking care of my brother for 6 weeks while my parents are in Korea. It's a 3-day weekend, so I thought that I would take Jaden backpacking. And so we're here in the Angeles National Forest, backpacking the Mount Lowe Trail. I wanted to go all the way to Idle Hour, but not exactly sure if we have enough food for that. So we might just head back home today. But I wanted to do a Q&A and answer some of your guys' questions. Thank you so much for leaving some on the post that I made. So the first question is, how do you navigate returning and rediscovering your roots? I'm on this path and sometimes it feels overwhelming. Take care. Thank you for leaving this question. I think it's very meaningful to me and the journey that I've been on, and I think a lot of different people, especially in this like globalized world that we live in, where people are moving everywhere and at a rate that's like faster than ever before in human history. And so I think all of us are trying to connect to our roots. There's this quote that is in the window of this gallery of this artist that I met in Fort Bragg, and I want to read it for you guys. It says, "A people without the knowledge of their first history, origin, and culture is like a tree without roots." And I think that really is truth to me. I've been learning about myself through learning the stories of my family, of my parents and their parents. I have them with me now, and so I've been asking them, I've been spending time with them first of all, and hearing their stories. And I think what's been helping me rediscover my roots and reconnect with them is to travel to my homeland, being there and immersing myself in the language and the culture and the food and the land especially is really important. The deep traditional culture and knowledge that has been around for thousands of years. I think that's what I've been learning about and immersing myself in, and that has really opened my mind into having a deeper understanding of what culture my parents grew up in and how that has passed down to me. There's this path, but there's also the path of me learning about human history in general and through longer time spans from when we first kind of evolved as a species and all of the different stages we've gone through, with the cognitive revolution to the agricultural revolution to the industrial, scientific, and then industrial. Then today is like capitalism and globalization, and that has fully shifted the way in which I understand humanity today. And that's who we are. Like, we're humans, and we have our individual cultures within that huge gamut of being human. And for me, I feel like I've been going through these different kind of paths: Korean history and then human history. And then the last is also the history of the land that I've grown up in before a suburb got developed there, which it's only been like 40-something years or something. And that just, comes from researching on the internet or even just observing around us and pondering and forming relationships with the fauna, flora, fungi around us. That was a really long first question. The next question is, what is the inspiration behind the name of your channel? So my channel's name is 59RT, and the inspiration from that is, it was when me and my sister were young and we were making our email accounts and Webkinz accounts, and we were just coming up with different combinations of letters and numbers. And I just came up with 59RT. And from that point, it's just really stuck with me for some reason. And I just like the look of it and I like the sound of it. And it's just become me in a very random way. The next question is, these days, what spiritual beliefs have been guiding you? What spiritual beliefs have been guiding me? What have I been believing? I don't know what I've been believing particularly, but I've been practicing a lot of gratitude. It's been inspired by this course I've been taking with this filmmaker that I really love. In this course, Kalyani always starts by giving gratitude for the land and then for our ancestors. And I think that has been really guiding me. I think that ties in with the first question of like kind of thinking about where we come from, and where we come from is the land, and where we come from are our ancestors, and to give gratitude to that and be aware that we come from that, I think really grounds me. Kalyan has been teaching a lot of different Cambodian words, and one of the words, if you dissect it, the word is to describe maturity, but dissected, it means to know your own breath. And I think that's been really guiding me. Next question. How did I find that community that I stayed at? That, I feel like I kind of explained it in the vlog, but basically it was just, the reason I found that workshop in the first place was because the internet. I feel like my niche of the internet has been focusing on these kinds of things, like natural building, growing food, connecting with the land, connecting with our inner spaces. And inevitably, I just found this teacher who, her name's Sasha Robin, and I think I found her on Instagram, but I ended up following her email newsletter, and in that newsletter, she just gives out updates about what workshops she's doing, where they are going to be, and like when, and what she's been up to. And I just saw that she was doing a workshop in Northern California, and it was very like financially doable for me. It was like a sliding scale, and it was on the way to this backpacking spot that I've been wanting to go for a really long time. And Jaden's up there. And so I was like, okay, a newsletter. Sign up for email newsletters of people that you admire, people whose work you'd like to be involved in. But also, sites where there's already a network of people you can tap into. And then second is, again, it's like fate, just like being out in the world and meeting people. And sometimes you connect with them, and sometimes they invite you over, and my future goals, I've actually been really locked in to this goal that I have right now, and I've signed up for the permit and everything, so it's set in stone. But in 2025, I'm going to attempt the PCT, the Pacific Crest Trail. It's a hike, it's a trail from Mexico to Canada, and I'm gonna try it. It's been my dream for like a few years, and and it's finally coming to fruition, and I'm really excited. Next question is, what books, films, people do you enjoy? Bonus for those related to Earth. Recently I finished a few books. I read Sapiens, which is an amazing overview of the history of humans. Another book I finished recently was Pachinko, amazing fictional, real historical fiction about 4 generations of a family that experienced the Japanese colonization and moved to Japan, and their whole experience is amazing. It's turned into a show, and I need to watch the 2nd season. I watched the 1st season, but other books that I really, really love, I really like Haruki Murakami's books. He writes a lot of fantasy realism, yeah. And I've read 1Q84 by him, and also a collection of short stories called Blind Willow, Sleeping Woman. And I just finished a book called The Late Homecomer, and it's a family memoir of a Hmong family who escaped their genocide in Laos due to the Vietnam War and American troops kind of forcing Hmong people to fight for their side. And it's a whole crazy, really, really tragic story, but also resilient story, and a story really about family and I guess connection to land, and I guess losing that connection in the immigration process. And I think that really hits home for a lot of people who have immigrated here and are trying to make sense of who they are and where they come from. And I think that's been my journey right now, is in the first question, but of reconnecting with my roots. Films, I don't watch that many films. I want to watch more, and I want to watch more documentaries as well. Oh, hello. But one of my favorite films is Princess Mononoke, and I just recently watched another Studio Ghibli film called Only Yesterday, I think, and that one's beautiful. It shows rural life in Japan, and my friend's mom was like, she reminds me of you, and I thought that was really sweet that I don't know, I guess we have similar journeys, me and that main character of the movie, and I really resonate with her journey. But you should watch that one. I also recently watched a movie, not recently, but a while ago, watched a movie called Here, and that one is I really like slow movies about everyday life, and I think that's why I enjoy YouTube so much. But Here is a story about a bryologist, moss researcher, and this construction worker, and it's a really beautiful, just quiet movie. But yeah. But as I said, I watch a lot of YouTube, and so a lot of my inspiration comes from people I watch on YouTube. I recently discovered a channel called Adrian Misato, and they're so cute. They live in Japan, and they just show their everyday lives. And Adri is a chef, and Misato is a sculptor, works with wood and painting and embroidery and lots of things. And I just love their videos. It's so cute. I also really love Samurai Matcha. He's inspired me in his journey with minimalism, and his lifestyle has really inspired me in so many different ways. I love his videos. Also, I love these 2 channels, Pandasaka and Black Sea Adventure. They make the most amazing cooking videos, but they're completely silent and just the most amazing food you could possibly think of, and just I love their channel so much. Pandasaka always looks off into the sun at the end of each of his videos, and I just love it so much. One of my favorite YouTubers is John Zahorian. He's an incredible through hiker and video maker, and I really love his work, and he inspires me so much. And another person is Rosa. She has been living out of her car for the past 6 years and just did the PCT, and she inspires me so much. Her videos are just so simple, no music, nothing, but no crazy editing, but she's just really honest and real in her videos, and I really appreciate that. Okay, and then lastly, I really love this person I discovered online on YouTube named Dio Mikota, and I just resonate with her journey so much, and everything that she says, I feel really deeply, and her love for mushrooms and also exploring this earth. I feel like we're on similar paths, and she's also been sharing her life through YouTube, and I just have been absolutely loving all of her videos. So those are some people I enjoy. Next question. What do your family think about what you're doing? Well, my mom is really scared for me. She has a lot of fear, and so she's always telling me not to do things. But she's been opening up more and more to the things that I do. And I think my dad supports what I do. But sometimes he kind of teases me and says, you're not going to know how to do real world stuff, and you're just like living under a rock. And I'm like, maybe I am. But am I living under a rock, or am I like seeing how things really are through my own direct experience? I think that's what I'm doing. I think they just want me to do what makes me happy. Of course, they're like kind of concerned for my financial well-being. They want me to be financially secure, and I want to be financially secure too. But I think that will come. But anyways, very supportive. I'm grateful. Next question is, what are some early changes people can make in their lifestyle that are more sustainable and ethical? I feel really passionate about this one, and I think that it comes with a level of awareness to be able to make, or to want to make changes in the first place. And I just think the first step of people who aren't even aware of our relationship with the earth is to like spend time outside and observe all the things that are happening, all the life that is surrounding us outside of the things that we've developed and built. I think that's the first step. And then out of that comes like a compassion for our environment and our fellow animals. And out of that, I think, comes with, it's just an awareness of what exactly you use and consume, and what trash you create, and where that ends up. And for me, a lot of changes I've made are to produce the least amount of trash as possible. It's definitely a hard journey. It's a long journey of reflecting, or a lot of it comes from our relationship with our food, and I can't let go of certain things yet. Like I can't, and maybe I won't ever let go of like chips, things that are packaged, that are nice and yummy and not the best for our bodies. But yeah, it's hard to be perfect, but I think it's good to make effort. And so what I do is I always bring bags to the grocery store for everything, all the produce. I buy bulk as much as possible and bring my own bags again and put them in my own containers. I try to cut plastic out of my life as much as possible. I use it all-in-one bar soap. And I've been experimenting with letting go of like facial serums and lotions, but it's hard to know what's best for my skin. I obviously want to take care of my skin, and I can't tell if I can let go of all of the face products yet, but I have left behind bottled shampoo and conditioner and body wash and plastic loofahs. I've been using like a jute cloth to wash myself, and I've been aware of like our industrial made clothing as well, and how much plastic is in our clothing, and I've been making efforts to try and purchase things that are natural fibers. So that's one thing. Just letting go of plastic is a huge part of becoming more sustainable, in my opinion. And hand making things and being resourceful is another thing I think that is really important. And that comes with, yeah. And then another part is like food is so important to our relationship with the earth, and just buying locally and cooking as much as you can and not getting huge to-go containers, and bringing your own to-go containers is a really big thing that I've been practicing. And just being aware of every time I get in the car, and I try to reduce it as my use of the car as much as possible. But when I have to use it, or when I want to, I still allow myself, but I'm aware of it, and I think about it. And I've been listening to a lot of different podcasts about like kind of environmental politics, and I'll recommend this one here, or this here, using less water, buying less things, or really reflecting on where we get our things. I buy most of my things resale, and that's been really important to me. And supporting small creators like craftsmen is, I think, really important in this practice. Is there something or someone who sparked your journey? Oh my God. Mushrooms, mycelium, for sure. It was like the trigger to me opening my eyes to like everything. I fully was like, this is who I am. This is who I need to be. Always looking towards the future for success, and not even giving a second glance to all the life around me, and only focusing on my own human ordeal and my place in society, instead of my relationship with the land and my relationship with living forms around me, and my relationship with humans. That was important to me at the time, but definitely mushrooms, magic mushrooms psilocybin mushrooms to be precise, that really sparked my journey. And also different environmental activists really inspire me. For example, Robin Greenfield really inspires me in really being the change you want to see in the world. I think that's like one of the biggest statements of what we can do, is just do the things that we align ourselves with, the values we have, or try our best to. It's hard to be perfect, you know? And last question from this person: would you consider getting a pet? No, I'm not really a pet person, I don't think. Next question is, where do you want to live where you could do what you love? Any suggestions of your favorite town/city? This next year, I'm going to be living on the trail. And that's where I could do what I love, and that is backpacking. So that's where I'm going to live this next year. But another place I would love to live is the Mendocino area in Northern California. I really actually would love to go back and spend like a year or two there. And I'd be able to do so many things that I love. So many things. I could go find mushrooms. I can perhaps enroll in their woodworking. They're really amazing woodworking school there. It's very affordable. And learn woodworking and be around trees and whittle some wood, and also be a part of an amazing community of people who garden and farm. That would be the dream. Or the ultimate dream is to live in rural Korea. I love rural Korea so much. But I think dream town would be Kure, which is where I stayed. That's the town the temple is at, and also the town that is where Chirisan, the beautiful mountains, are at, and also some friends that I've met also live there. And so I'd love to live in Kure, potentially. Next question is, how do you sustain yourself financially when traveling? Well, the last time I went traveling for a few months, I had a good amount of savings. I had like a few $1,000s A lot of the savings came from tax return from when I actually worked a lot and had a lot of money, and so I got a lot of money back from that. And I worked as a summer camp counselor at UCLA, which was so much fun. I did that full time, and then I went home, and then lived at home. Didn't pay rent. I think big thing is I don't pay rent. I also took care of my brother for a month last year. Same thing I'm doing this year. And my parents gave me some money for that. Before I left, though, I also dog sat for my cousin, and he gave me some money. And I also got a lot of money from graduation. A lot of my relatives gave me money for that. So I just had a bunch of money. But I also travel very frugally. I bought like the cheapest plane tickets, like ones to Japan for like $260, and then the plane ticket from Japan to Korea was $100. And when I stayed, everywhere I stayed in Korea was free. I paid for a guest house like for maybe one night when I went to visit my friend, but otherwise I stayed with family. Even though I want to pay for some meals and like just give back to them, they never let me. And I also woofed, and that's free. And in exchange for labor, I did my labor. That's how I sustained myself, did some labor. But it's like the most meaningful, amazing labor ever. And then when I went to the Philippines, I did the Vipassana retreat, which is 10 days of housing and food provided, and you pay what you can. Yeah, Japan was, I think, the most expensive part of the trip. I spent like over $200 in like a week and a half, which was crazy to me. I know to some people that's like nothing. Like my sister just went to Japan, and I think she spent way more than that. But for me, it was like, whoa, it's expensive. Like one bullet train ticket was like $60. And also another thing is like, I don't know if it's Korean culture, but yeah, elders love to give you money when you visit. Like I visit Korea not that often, and so every time I go, all my 할머니, 할아버지, 고모, 이모, 고모, they just keep giving me money, so I just had so much money. So I'm really grateful. Also, the last month I spent in Korea, I spent with my dad. And eventually I'd love to make enough money where I can pay for the trip and book everything. But that's not me right now. And so he paid for everything. And I'm so grateful for my dad. And and I also make money off of YouTube. Not that much, really. But I make some money, and I take what I can, and I'm like, thank you, YouTube. Thank you to all of you guys who are watching. Oh yeah, that same person asked, how has your outlook on life changed? Career, beliefs, etc. Whoa. Oh, my outlook on life has shifted so much. It's really opened my eyes to like, oh my God, there's so much to see in this world. Oh no, there's a bird on my camera. Oh my God. that there's just so much beauty in this world, and I think a lot of that beauty is held in like really long-standing traditions and cultures. And there's a lot of places on this world where a lot of things are super old and just like thousands of years of history embedded within it, of wisdom embedded within the architecture, the words, the symbols of the words, the food culture, and having a relationship with the ocean, the forests, the green, the plants that grow all around you, and the mushrooms, and to know which are edible. That's like how humankind has survived for so long. And being able to connect with people who have that deep connection is just like, wow, amazing. And it gives me really a lot of perspective on American culture and how short the span of this culture is from the colonization of this land. While indigenous cultures of this land had traditions spanning and have traditions spanning thousands of years, but most of us Americans who are living on that land are cut off from that because we're like immigrants, or just living in a world that's been built only a few decades long ago. And the same thing is happening all over the world too. In Korea too, there's so many people who have no idea, don't even care about traditional culture, 전통. And everyone's just pursuing a very modern life in the city. And that's valid too, but that's not my thing. And I don't see that much beauty in that. Even though I want to see beauty in everything, but I don't know. And last question is, how do you overcome fears? I think the biggest thing that we fear in general, though, is we fear death. We don't want to come out to the mountains alone because we fear a bear is going to kill us, or we're going to get lost and die, or we're going to get killed by some crazy murderer in the forest, We're just fearing death, and I think that death is okay. Maybe that's how I overcome my fear. It's just at the end of the day, we're fearing death. But I just have a trust that everything's going to be okay. I'm going to be fine. And, if it's not fine, oh well. I don't want that to stop me from doing and seeing things that are unknown to me, and stop me from continuing to explore. But it's always good to stay vigilant, to know what's out there, and to be strong mentally, physically. So when someone does come, you just gotta yeah, I have a black belt in Taekwondo, so I've got nothing to fear. No, I'm just kidding. I do have a black belt in Taekwondo, but I don't know if that really does anything for me. Some people get guns out of fear. Some people make nuclear bombs out of fear, But we always gotta combat that fear with love. Gotta combat it with love. There's a lot of love in this world. There's a lot of hate. And we gotta accept it all. But I guess at the end of the day, overcoming fear, you gotta choose love. But those are some questions, and those are my answers. Okay, that was it. Bye-bye.